Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover a selection of titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order by site, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. Our newest release, Swarms of the Multiverse, offers over 70 brand new creatures, including their associated swarms. Plus, you get instructions on how to make your own balanced swarms, and lots of bonus material, such as 4 new demiplanes. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take your potions to the next level in your game. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs. Also, our book, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class and much more. Please support the channel by purchasing one of our books using the links in the video description. Before we jump into our usual coverage, we got to talk about the latest book from Splinterverse Media. That's right, we have a bonus title for you in the lineup this week, and that's our Dragonlance Companion. It just came out, and it's already a best silver seller in its first week. We've got a ton of authors, including myself, on this title. I can't read them all, but I hope you do check them all out. They're very talented, fun people to work with, and it's available as a PDF for $19.99, or you can get that hardcover standard color for $38.99, or both for the same price, so you don't have to pay any extra if you want to get a bundle with that hardcover and the digital. And it's 180 pages, folks. Took 6 months for us to make this, and we wanted to fill it with stuff for players and DMs that are getting into Dragonlance so that they have everything they need to create those compelling characters and undertake exciting adventures across Ansalon and beyond. And even though this is a Dragonlance book, you can use some of this stuff in other settings. It's really up to you. So we've got a lot of stuff. I'm not going to be able to go over all of it, so I do hope you come check it out or watch my full video on the book, which will be linked on the end screen of this video. But we've got 3 classic races, including 3 sub-races. So you're getting to play as Draconian if you want, 𝙤𝙤𝙘, which is the Walrus folk from Ice Reach, or even a half-ogre, which is a lot of fun. Then we've got 13 different subclasses featuring 1 for each class. Some of them are darker, like our Plague Domain. Others are lighter, like our Circle of Elements Druid. Then you've got the Flesh Sculptor for the Artificer and the Viewmaster for the Fighter. High Sorcery for the Wizard Arcane Tradition. So lots and lots of different options that can work either good, evil, neutral, whichever way you want to go, you can make it work. They've got stunning art, as you can see here, and of course there are lore tables. As usual, when we do subclasses, we give you lore tables to flesh out your character. Then we've got some new backgrounds with feats, and these are structured like the ones in the official Wizards release, so they have the same kind of material as well as those tiered feats that grow based on, you take the first feat, or you get the first feat as part of your feature for the background, and then you can get the second one and the third, and so on. And so we've got the Knights of Naraka, which is kind of the opposite of the Knights of Solamnia, and then we've got the Seeker Guard for the backgrounds, and then we've got 19 spells ranging from cantrip to 9th level, and we made sure that all the spellcasters got a spell here too as well. Then we've got 16 magic items and 100 trinkets, and these are magic items from past editions as well as brand new magic items. So, and whatever rarity you want. So if you want common all the way up to artifact, we've got you covered. We've got our own version of the Hoopak. We got the Device of Time Journeying and Frost Reaver, among others. And then, of course, I said those 100 trinkets and this new type of item called a legacy item, which grows as you do things. Instead of growing with you as you level, it increases in power when you do certain things we call catalysts. So maybe you have to slay a certain type of monster, or you have to find something in the world and reunite it. Whatever it is, there are these little catalysts that trigger improvement of the weapon. So they're very scalable. Whatever level you want to start, you can scale those as you go, so you don't have to keep swapping out those magic items. And it works really well with the story because the catalyst can be woven into the DM's story. We've also got classic and new monsters. So whether you want to bring a fetch into the campaign or a dream wraith or something from a classic Dragonlance novel or module, you can do that. We even have the script with instructions on how to turn it into a mount. And then we've got new creatures like the Cat Fiend and the Ghost Rat that are tied to Krynn lore. So it's really fun to be able to see these new creatures brought to life because they haven't been seen before in past modules, but they do have that connection to Krynn. And the CRs range from 1/8 all the way up to 14. And there's 40 different stat blocks in the book because we also include 2 complete adventures for Tier 1 and Tier 2. So you can run that as a whole campaign, taking your characters from basically level 2 all the way up to level 9. You get to go to places like Solace, the Inn of the Last Home, the Tower of High Sorcery. You get to deal with Minotaurs and Draconians and a secret faction that's anti-magic. I mean, there's just some really fun stuff in here that makes you feel like you're part of the novels. And you can see some really cool art. We've got a picture of the Inn of the Last Home that we had commissioned for the book, so that's really cool. Then we've also got the Gods of Krynn with Piety. So if you remember the Piety system from Theros, we brought that over here to the gods. So we cover all of the Gods of Krynn, and with 21 of them, the main gods, we give you these deep lore paragraphs along with the piety, so you know how to raise or lower piety with a given god, plus a magic item that improves as your piety improves. It's called a herald item. So if you become a herald of the god, which means you've sort of been chosen by the god, you get an item that is named after one of their favorite items, and then that item will grow in power as you improve your piety with that god. So it's a really fun way to incorporate the gods into the campaign and to incorporate piety. And what's nice is because we're giving you all the instructions on how to raise or lower piety, if you as a DM want to come up with other benefits, create some boons or other things, you can, because you have the piety metrics to sort of keep track of where your players are in relationship to their gods. So really fun stuff. I wish I could go even more into it, but we've got other titles to cover. I'm going to show you just a little bit. We have a publisher preview. That's why it looks a little different. So here's the full table of contents. You can see tons of stuff, 180 pages worth, including at the end, we have adventure hooks for everything in the book. So we want you to be able to take these player options if you're a DM and turn those into NPCs or other adventure options as well. So here's the flesh sculptor. With the flesh sculptor, you get to make this little sculpted effigy, and basically it takes on characteristics of whatever the primary creature type it is. So if there's a dragon in it, maybe it's going to have something associated with the dragon, like a breath ability. If it's a fey creature that's the dominant creature type, it's going to have some charm related stuff in its actions. So really cool options here. And you get to customize it and change it over time. And as you level up, you eventually get to have 2 dominant creature types. So you get to use more stuff on there in terms of abilities. So it's a really fun. If you like Artificer, it's going to be a lot of fun. And this is our Few Master here for the fighter, which really ties into those dragon armies in the books. All of them have a connection to Krynn, but you can use them outside of Krynn as well on other settings. You can have a flesh sculptor outside of Krynn. It does connect to, Takhisis's creation of the Draconians and some other things, but it's a loose enough connection that you can port it easily to another setting. Few Master ties directly into those dragon armies. We give you background on it. You get a dragon aspect at 18th level where you can do things depending on your dragon armor, because your dragon armor is connected to your dragon high lord. What type of dragon are they? Are they a black dragon? Are they a copper dragon, etc.? Then we've also got our ranger, which is a grave speaker. And so most rangers are focused on living things, but our grave speaker ranger is focused on the undead and death. And so there's all these cool little effects, like at the end here, the Nature's Revenant. You can draw upon powerful necromantic magic when you are close to dying. When you are reduced to 0 hit points for the first time during combat, vines and roots rise up to puppeteer your body. You are unconscious but able to move and take actions as normal for 1 minute. Although your body is animated, you must make death saving throws and you suffer the normal effects of taking damage while at 0 hit points. If you would die due to failing death saving throws, you don't die until this effect ends, and only if you have 0 hit points. So it's a really fun sort of last-ditch effort that looks visually interesting. It'll be fun to describe that as a player and to be able to just keep taking actions even. That's going to be very beneficial at 15th level. But you know, just because they're into undead doesn't mean they're evil, right? So maybe they just have a different feeling, and if you read the intro lore, you'll see how it can go really either way. You can be, you know, kind of dark with it, or you can be more just appreciative of that death is part of life, and that you know, it shouldn't be ignored. So you can go in either way, but you can see the glorious Kinder art we have here. We have some great artists working on this. And then here's a sample of the background, so you can see the backgrounds and the feats with the personality tables. We got some sample spells here with our spell list, so you can see how we've got everybody. Even the ranger gets a spell, so that's pretty cool. And then we've got a section on time travel, which is really fun. Gives you advice on how to incorporate time travel into any campaign. The examples are Krynn focused, but again, we want to make sure this is valuable beyond Dragonlance as well. Then we've got our gods section. We go into all the details, how to deal with their avatars, how to deal with the plane that they're connected to the most. And then we talk about their herald, choosing somebody as a herald and giving them these herald items that we're going to look at in a minute. So we've got the table of the gods to help you. We're even using the domains from our other books. So in addition to the domains that have been assigned by wizards, we're assigning domains from all of our older books. So if you are a previous Splinterverse customer, you're going to get extra value out of those older books as well, because they're incorporated here. Anytime we had a cleric domain, like the mirror domain from our Feywild companion, it's represented in this list as well. So further use of all those older books. And then here's an example of one of the gods. You can see Brancala is talked about here, so you get the lore information as well as sort of the stats, and then you get into that earning and losing piety, and it shows you the different types of things, like performing a song, dance, or poem that tells the story of Brancala in front of a large audience. That's going to earn you some piety. But if you criticize or hinder an artistic performance, then you're going to lose piety with Brancala. So different metrics so that you can take away or give piety to a player based on how they're behaving. And then of course we have the leaf blade, which is that herald item that you could find or be directly given from an avatar of the god, however you want to role play it. But it's got all these different tiers. So you've got the nascent, emergent, resplendent, and transcendent. So it starts with an uncommon ability, and as you earn piety, it goes up in power all the way up to legendary. So really fun stuff, and they're very flavored to feel like they're from that god. They have abilities that will remind you of that god. So very, very fun stuff here. Here's one of the new creatures. It's a ghost rat. It's a CR 14, so you can look at their stat block here. And then just some sample pages from our adventures as well. So we've got flowcharts for you, got lots of really nice artwork for the main NPCs in the adventure. So even if you just wanted to use these NPCs as other characters in Krynn, you could do that. Of course, you can run the adventures. We do have loose ties between the two adventures. There's references to each other. So if you want to do a whole campaign from level 2 to 9, you can. We also have encounters in the book to help you fill in some of the gaps. To do it as a level 1, you could do one of the encounters, or you could even do some of the encounters after the adventures as well. So we want to have you covered. We've got a Kinder here with the stat block. So fun stuff, and I really hope you check it out. It was 6 months of hard work, but we knew we were on to something fun for all of you to really enhance your Dragonlance experience. So check it out. It's in the links below under Dragonlance Companion. Give it a click. Now let's talk about our exclusive discount for this week. It's on our social media everywhere. It's Broken Wing, a level 3 adventure, and it's 50% off by author Joseph Morrow. And it is $1.99 and 12 pages. And it says, Tempest is an undersized and overconfident bronze dragon wormling. He set out way too early to claim his coastline and lair. His overconfidence got him into serious trouble with some trolls. The trolls are now on the hunt. Tempest is wounded, afraid and alone. Can you save him? So you get to have this exploration, social, and combat adventure. It's basically 2 individual encounters that can be combined into the larger thematic adventure, giving you roughly 3 to 4 hours of gameplay, and it's designed to be more of like a random thing that happens. However, there's an optional NPC to use as a quest giver, and it includes the stat blocks, of course, for the Bronze Dragon Wormling and the Troll, as well as 1 optional NPC, 3 maps for a hillside troll camp and a close-up of the troll camp, as well as other artwork. So really easy to plug this in anywhere. You just need to have a setting that has dragons and you're good to go. So this could even work with Dragonlance. So it says each encounter is designed as an individual one-shot or to lead into the next encounter, but they all work in combination with each other to create a larger thematic adventure. Play through all the encounters or pick the one that fits your session's needs. So I like this kind of structure because sometimes you just need a random encounter. You don't need all the adventure stuff. So this one gives you that permission to say, I'm just going to use part of it. So that's awesome. And you can see down here, we got our table of contents. You get the encounters, and then you get into the maps as well as the creatures. So the first one, it says, Tempest is a high energy bronze dragon wormling. Being this young, his scales are not yet bronze. They are gray with a yellow tinge. He is ambitious and named Tempest because he gets spun up quick. He has set out to establish his own lair along the coast. He's overconfident, and that is what got him into trouble. A run-in with some trolls has put him in serious danger. So it says to read aloud this section. As you come into a grass clearing, you hear a sound. It is a wheezing noise. It sounds like something is having a hard time breathing. It is coming from a pile of fallen rocks. You stop and scan the area. After a few moments, you spot something curled up in a rock formation. It looks to be a winged creature. It is the origin of the noise. As its chest raises, you hear the laboring sound of its breath. As you move closer, blood and other wounds on the creature come into focus. Its head turns toward you. It's a young dragon. It speaks in common. Can you help me? So you've got this dragon that you're encountering and it's asking for your help, and what do, right? That's a fun way to start an encounter. And it talks about how you can tend the wounds and various different things. And then you've also got trolls. Here you've got to deal with. It says, Tempest will give the party the location of the camp if they want to go find the trolls. He's confident if you follow the path west, you'll run into the camp. So this dragon's going to help you find the trolls they have to take on. So here's one of the maps. And then, you got all the maps down here. And then you get into the stat block. So it's a CR2 for your Bronze Dragon Wormling. And your troll is a CR5. So yeah, you're going to have lots of fun figuring out if your players are going to help this dragon or not, maybe take on the trolls or not. And I mean, it's normally $1.99, but we're bringing it to you with our exclusive discount at 50% off. So around $1, you're going to have this set of encounters with this fun little dragon that you can just use anytime you need to in any setting, and even in Dragonlance. So I think you got to grab it. It's in our timestamps. Should be at the top of the links. Right under Dragonlance Companion is Broken Wing. Give it a click. Next, we have An Elf and an Orc Had a Little Baby, number 3. So this is a part of a series that has been really successful and I think a lot of fun. I've enjoyed the copies that I purchased of the past 2 titles, and it's from V.J. Harris, Adam Hancock, and it's $17.95 for 110 pages. And it's, the past ones were adamantine best-selling. They're just super, super popular. But this is 44 new and expanded parentages and a whole host of new upbringings. So it gives you a rule supplement that alone or together with the rest of the series entirely replaces Chapter 2 of the Player's Handbook. Instead of what people consider a bioessentialist way of doing it, it separates the biological traits and cultural traits into two categories. So you have parentage and upbringing, and based on those things, you can build basically a race for your character. So instead of saying, people have these sort of biological differences based on their races, it's split up more into things that you inherit and things that you get through upbringing. So almost environment versus your sort of genetics. So pretty cool way of doing it and getting around some of the controversies that exist with race in today's game. So you've got those 44 new expanded parentages and then a dozen new upbringings. And then you can combine and mix and match those with volumes 1 and 2. So that's really, really cool. And there's even a bundle down here at the bottom to get all 3 of them for around $30 to get those bundles. So really, really cool. I love this. I love that people are working on this, because we do need to see some, different options for this, because the future of D&D, they're going to change it, and they need some good examples like this to work with. So you can see here in the table of contents, you've got all these parentages, including, I'll point out, because this is Dragonlance release week, we've got a Kinder in here. So if you want to have a Kinder parent for your character, you can do that. You can even have a Cyclops. I mean, that'd be kind of fun. Cyclops parent, a 𝙤𝙤𝙘𝙤𝙤, Nothic, Troglodyte, Thrycreen, Sprite. I mean, lots of stuff. Even a Scarecrow or a Yeti. So really fun. We're getting to see 50 of the 110 pages, so tons of those are going to be visible in here. It talks about how to incorporate all this stuff. So even if you don't have the previous volumes, it's going to give you how to work this. So you don't have to worry. You can start with volume 3, okay? But right here's the Aboleth parentage, and it talks about if you have multiple Aboleth parents, and there's like points, so you get +3 points, minus, have so many points to spend to build your custom race, basically. So you've got the autonomish parentage, you've got the Azure parentage. We'll pick one to read here in a minute. The Aasimar, the Chitine. I mean, just tons of options. Let's see if we can find a fun one to read. So Deep Scion. Yeah, I mean, even the artwork, there's so much good artwork in here to really enjoy. You got the Fire Newt, the GIF, the 𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙬𝙬, and here's the Kinder. Let's look at the Kinder since it's Dragonlance week. Look at that fun artwork here at the beginning too, with the sort of a Kinder with the goat here. It says, Kinder share a common creator, the god of craft, with gnomes, who they often view as their distant cousins. They were changed dramatically when they encountered a powerful source of wild magic, imbuing them with magic. Although their essence changed, Kinder still share many physical characteristics with their gnome cousins, including their short stature and pointed ears. So it talks about mixed Kinder and then the Kinder traits. So it says you have a pool of 16 points to spend between your 2 birth parents. So if either of your parents are Kinder, you can pick from this list. So if you want to spend 5 of those 16 points, you can have the Fearless trait, which says you have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the frightened condition on yourself. If you fail a saving throw to avoid or end the frightened condition on yourself, you can choose to succeed instead. Once you succeed on a saving throw in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. So that's helpful, right? And it costs you 5 points, and so you still have 11 points to spend here. If you have a Kinder parent, or elsewhere if you have a different parent, right? Or both, mix them up. That's the beauty of this, is you're really going to create kind of a custom experience, a custom history. You could be half Kinder, half Aboleth, or half, whatever, right? You can mix and match even from the previous book. So let's see. You can make a Kinder birth option quickly with any of these examples. So one of your birth parents is a Kinder. You can shake off the effects of frightening enemies and have been mystically imbued with knowledge. So you get the Fearless and then the Kinder aptitude trait. Another one would be one of your birth parents is a Kinder, so magic has a harder time affecting you, so you get mystical resilience, or maybe one of your birth parents is a kinder, you have a natural resistance to toxins and a supernatural awareness, so you get mystical awareness and poison resilience. So all these different combos, which means that no two kinder are going to be identical unless you make a ton of them, right? Eventually you'll probably land on the same things, but yeah, it gives you so much to play with here. And as I said, if we just scroll through, you can see 50 pages. So what I would do if I was you is I would come, click on the preview, read the instructions on how to build your own little race, and then go make a couple through these 50 pages and just kind of see how that feels. And then if you like it, pay the $17.95, support these awesome creators, and then you have this vast amount of options for your players or for yourself if you're creating your own characters to use. And yeah, as I said, this has been a pretty successful series, so why not join the fun with an elf and an orc had a little baby 3? Give it a click. It's in the links below. All right, we've got the Black Lotus, an adventure in Shankhabhumi, which is one of the locations in the Radiant Citadel book that came out. It's by this one is by Elizabeth Van Koevering. It's $4.95 for 15 pages. And it says, the dark power grows as an evil druid seeks to wrest control of the rivers in Shankhabhumi from the riverines by imbuing a corpse lotus with riverine and human blood. Can the party stop the ritual and save the sacrifices? Or will they lose their treasure to lovelorn and status-seeking bullywug knight along the way? It's set in the civilization of Shankhabhumi from journeys beyond the Radiant Citadel, either before or after the Mists of Manavarsha takes place, and is intended for a party of 4 level 9 characters. So it's a watery land of forest inspired by the Sun Darbans, a massive mangrove forest on the Bay of Bengal that is home to a huge variety of wildlife. And it gives you some alternate settings where you can place this as well. So you've got advice to the DM, maps, NPCs, profiled as well. And what's really nice, and Elizabeth has been doing a series of these where the books have been going to different parts of the Radiant Citadel, because the Radiant Citadel is really like a bunch of different adventures in different settings, because the Radiant Citadel is like this sort of place that you can get to all those settings from. And so what's nice is, maybe you only have one adventure in the Radiant Citadel for a location. With this series that Elizabeth's doing, you're going to have multiple options, so you can really invest more in those settings if you like them. So really fun. Or as Elizabeth says in this description, you can port this to another setting, because there's advice on how to do that as well. So you just kind of need like a lush area, it sounds like, for this particular one. So I'm sure you could make it work if you're a crafty DM. So let's look inside. We got 8 pages out of the 15 to look at. So it gives you all the information, sets it up for you, notes on the for the DM, pronunciations. That's super helpful. I probably should have looked at this before I read it. I'm sure I butchered the name, but that's okay. You guys are used to that watching my show. All right, so it goes into all the different things. There's even a lotus flower involved here, which is really fun. It says the corpse lotus will bloom and begin to use its reanimate bonus action to create zombies. At its heart is a dark pearl. So yeah, that could be really, really interesting to deal with. And then you've got these fun little maps in here as well that you can use, and then your profiles of the different NPCs. And they seem to fit really with the setting, which is nice. And then you got a CR12 Archdruid of the Spores. You got a Bullywug in here, 1/4, and a Bullywug Knight at 3. So yeah, you're gonna have some fun stat blocks to use, as well as fun maps. So it's got a real good mixture. But let's read a little bit about the Black Lotus here. It says, backstory: Senator Shakrayuda of Sargapur has received information that her daughter Padma is in peril. Padma is on a mission, and her cohort and another senator, Mandajadu, to investigate reports of some corruption in the river 𝙭𝙤 to the west of Sargapur. A farmer reported that the riverine, the river-faced spirit, has been missing for some weeks. The information comes from the diviner, who cannot see the nature of the peril, only that it involves a black pearl. The senator will give 1,000 GP for the safe return of her daughter. So that kind of leads you into what you're going to be dealing with. And as we talked about, there's this corpse lotus. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And you can see sort of the corpse lotus right here on the cover. So yeah, check it out. Expand your opportunities with the Radiant Citadel with this awesome book called The Black Lotus. It's in the links below. Give it a click. All right, we're coming to another Dragonlance title. We're going to have a lot of Dragonlance titles to talk about this week, so I hope you're having fun setting up Krynn and bringing everybody there at your table. It's just a wonderful setting that's been around for so long. It's great to see it come to life in the 5th edition. So this title is Dragonlance Trinkets and Treasures. It's trinkets and magic items inspired by the original Dragonlance adventures and supplements. And it's from a whole crew of people: Jeff C. Stevens, Noah Grand, R.P. Davis, Joanna Delaine, James Dewar, John Connor Self, Spencer Hibnick, and Doug Reekle. Sorry if I mispronounced any of your names. It's $4.95 for 27 pages. And you can see some of the fun artwork here in the banner. It says, the writing team tapped into the text of Dragons of Despair, Dragons of Flame, basically a lot of the older, novels and modules to get some inspiration. And so you get 37 trinkets and 46 magic items, and you get history and usage sections to help you put them into your game. And what I always like to remind people is, just because something is connected to a setting in 5th edition, whether it's Dragonlance or Forgotten Realms or whatever, that doesn't stop you from pulling it out and putting it in your own homebrew setting. So even though this is Dragonlance Trinkets and Treasures, if you see an item in here that you feel like works with another setting, by all means, the authors of all these books, they want you to get use out of them. So you have that leeway as a DM to really build your own world. So don't be limited by the fact that it's Dragonlance for any of the Dragonlance books we talk about today. So right off the bat, they're giving you this really nice summary table that gives you all the different trinkets. It gives you like a short description. You can even roll to find them. So if you don't, if you're like me, sometimes I'm like, I can't choose. And so having a table like this is really cool because you can just say, I don't have to choose. I can just roll and let the dice determine for me, right? So you've got this whole list of trinkets, all the descriptions, some fun names, everything from a clay claw print to red dragon flagon, and then you've got your magic items table, which gives you the names of the magic items, the type that they are, the rarity, and then the page that they're on, of course, right? So goes into the trinkets, and you rarely get deep detail on trinkets, so having this much detail on the trinket's pretty cool. So we'll just read the first one here, and then we'll move on to the magic items. So the first one is a ceramic coin. It says, a ceramic coin with words printed in a dead language on one side, and a face and profile that has been worn down to blankness on the other. The history is that this coin belonged to one of the empires before the Cataclysm, and it takes a little observational skill to recognize that the worn face would have a distinctly draconic muzzle to it based on the shape of the coin. So you see it's tying into the Dragonlance history with Cataclysm. It's got some dragons with that draconic muzzle. So, but again, you could port that to another setting too. And then it says usage. This could be part of a character's unwavering belief in the existence of dragons, or it could be a motivation to discover magic that can restore items, decipher dead tongues, or provide insight into the workings of history. So it gives you some basically prompts of places to go with this item, and you can work with your player to do that, or if you want to use this trinket as something that you find in loot, or as something you find when you're going through a dungeon and it's in a particular room, or it can even be like the star hero item of a story. Whatever you want to do with these trinkets, I think people tend to think of trinkets only as, oh, that's something the player gets at the start. Well, it can be, but what about all the other story potential that can come from a trinket? Lots and lots of other places to work those in. So then we have magic items. So we'll look at the first one here as well. Crystal staff, weapon, quarterstaff, legendary, requires attunement. A crystalline staff that is said to be designed to strike down agents of evil gods, especially Takhisis. You gain a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this magic weapon. In addition, while attuned to it and while wielding it, your spell attack bonus and spell save DC increase by 1. On a successful melee weapon attack against an evil dragon, the staff shatters, dealing an additional 20d20 radiant damage to the target. The staff is destroyed, but the bonus to your spell attack bonus and spell save DC remain. So really cool. It has, extra damage dealing potential if you're coming up against an evil dragon. And it's very dramatic how it blows up there. I like that. And I like that they tied it to Takhisis, but it says designed to strike down agents of evil gods, especially Takhisis. So again, if you have an evil god in another setting, you can take the crystal staff there as well. So lots of flexibility. We always love to see that. And, just scrolling through, you can see all kinds of different artwork. Like here we have, let's zoom in and see what these are called. This is the Mantooth, the Worm Slayer, and the Redeemer, the Worm's Bane. So those are really well illustrated. So you're going to get a ton of stuff in here. You can never have too many magic items. You can never have too many trinkets. And as I said, these are great for Dragonlance, but even beyond that, you can use them. So why don't you check it out? It's in the links below under Dragonlance Trinkets and Treasures. Give it a click. Next, we have the Luchador Class by Josh Pacheco. I saw this and I smiled because it just looks so fun. I remember that movie, Lucha Libre, and I always thought Luchador wrestling with the masks and stuff was kind of cool looking because I like superheroes, and it always just kind of reminded me of like superhero masks and stuff. So when I saw this, I smiled and I thought, oh, this is fun. Somebody's bringing this to D&D. And it's $7.95 for 13 pages, and it says it's a single target martial controller that aims to single out an enemy away from the party using supercharged grapples and shoves called signature moves. Creating a luchador allows you to play a character with the following playstyle: frontline controller wielding signature moves that add did I mispronounce that? Frontline controller wielding signature moves that add additional effects to your melee attacks, grapples, and shove actions. A tanky scrapper and party phase, they are able to overcome most physical challenges through their athletic prowess while dazzling the people in and out of the ring. So really, really cool. Just as you would expect, right? They get in your face. They're doing different things as a luchador. And then here you have the table of contents. And whenever a creator creates a class, they have to also think about like what are the subclasses going to be for this new class, right? And so one of my favorite things to discover is what do they call the subclasses. So like with paladins, you have oaths. Wizards have, the arcane tradition, etc. So what is the luchador? It's persona, which I think is perfect because in wrestling and things like luchadors, you have to have a persona. Like, what is your persona going to be? Like, what's your character going to be as you're up there doing all this wrestling stuff, right? So the personas, they have the Mask of the Glory Seeker, the Mask of Tooth and Claw, the Mask of the Feathered Serpent, and the Mask of the Grave Titan. So some really fun options. But you get to see pretty much the whole book here, which I really appreciate Joshua allowing everyone to see such great work. I mean, the entirety of it for free in here in this preview. That's awesome. And I really just love the artwork throughout this. I mean, you got the sort of silhouette here of the luchador mask, and then you got this fun character portrait as well, or full figure, I should say. But yeah, you get your quick start, quick build, all the things, your hit points, all those things. And then your table showing all the features you get and the signature moves known. So you start with 4, and then it goes all the way to 12. So you're going to have 12 moves by the time you get to 20th level. And you get 12 at 18th. So quite a bit of moves there that you're going to have, which is cool. So it says, as a luchador, you gain the following class feature. So you get Lucha Libre right off the top. Your training and showmanship give you mastery over unarmed combat and improvised weapons. You can roll a d6 in place of the normal damage of your unarmed strike or improvised weapon if the attack's damage die is lower. When you successfully grapple a hostile creature on your turn, you can make an attack with an unarmed strike or improvised weapon as a bonus action. Your AC equals 10 plus your strength modifier plus your charisma modifier, so you get an AC bonus there. And then Technico, you also generate electrifying energy through your combat performance, building momentum to perform impressive unarmed maneuvers to beat your opponents into submission when you roll for initiative. And each time you hit a creature with an attack or win a contested athletics check, you gain a lucha die, a d6. You use these dice to perform your signature moves. You lose any unexpended lucha dice if you become incapacitated or if your turn ends and you didn't take the attack action. So you learn 4 signature moves, and then saving throws, you have your own sort of signature move save DC. And then at second level, you get Duro. When an attacker you can see hits you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to expend 1 Lucha die and reduce the damage of the attack by the result of your Lucha die plus half your Luchador level rounded down. You cannot be wearing armor or wielding a shield when you use this reaction. And then Fuerte, while you are not wearing armor and not wielding a shield, you count as large for the purposes of grappling and shoving. The size you are considered increases when you reach certain Luchador levels, as shown in the Luchador table. So you're going to just keep growing in size, of course, which is cool. So you get to huge, and then eventually Gargantuan with 17th level. And then at 3rd level, you get your subclass. And then Smack Talk. As a bonus action on your turn, you can launch a verbal assault on a creature within 30 feet of you that can see and hear you. The creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your signature move save DC or be goaded to attack you. Until the start of your next turn, it has disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures other than you. This taunt ends early if the compelled creature cannot see you, or if either you or the compelled creature die. And then if you hit the creature with a melee attack before using this bonus action on the same turn, the creature has disadvantage on the saving throw. And then you get extra attack at 5th level. And then when you win a contest or succeed on an ability check or saving throw against being grappled or shoved, you can use your reaction to try to grapple or shove back. That's pretty cool. So yeah, this all feels very Luchador related, which I love. And we're not going to read all of it. You can see the whole book, so we want you to come here and read all of this yourself and get into some of the signature moves like arm bar, bear hug, drop kick, elbow drop. These are very wrestling Luchador focused moves that you get to incorporate. I think the author's just done such a brilliant job here incorporating what people would expect to see from some wrestling inspired character in D&D, and the artwork is just really, really great. So whoever did the artwork, looks like Taryn Pounds and Mick Cortez. Great job with that. Love that. And then at the end it talks about like how to work these into Eberron, Ravnica, Theros, Strixhaven, Forgotten Realms, Radiant Citadel, all that stuff. So you can find a way. If you're a crafty DM, you can find a way to work anything into a setting. So I love this so much. I think it's just good for a laugh and a smile and a fun time, I think. So look for it in the links below under Luchador Class and give it a click. Next we have Mind Flayer Over Matter, a Spelljammer adventure from Daniel Kahn and Dana Floberg. It's $3.95 for 16 pages, and this is part of a series that these authors have been doing to really flesh out and expand some of the stuff in the Spelljammer Light of Xiryxis adventure, if you bought the Spelljammer box set from Wizards. So yeah, why not expand, especially if you're rerunning the adventure, mix it up, stretch it out, try different things, or replace different things, right? So it says, as the party travels through the Astral Sea to confront the Xiryxian Armada in Light of Xiryxis Chapter 10, they encounter a Githyanki dragon rider named Dagaz, who is hunting mind flayers. In the book, this encounter is simply meant as a cliffhanger for the end of Chapter 9 and is very unlikely to result in anything more than a brief exchange before Dagaz departs and never reappears in the campaign. The purpose of the adventure is to provide an important side quest offered by Dagaz to give this encounter more narrative impact. In this adventure, Dagaz recognizes that the coalition is sorely outmatched and offers to tell them the location of the Xiryxian reinforcement base that the party could strategically destroy before the fight with the Armada. In return, the party must accompany Dagaz on a quest to hunt down and defeat a crew of mind flayers in a nearby wild space system called Vermilion Space. As always, it is up to you how much you use. You can just use parts of the adventure or the whole thing. There's VTT ready maps that are really cool looking, and yeah, I think it's great. You can always come back and meet with Dagaz again and get another side quest, right? Or if you're crafty, you can work this in multiple ways. So really, really cool. So you get your intro, your adventure hooks, running the adventure, and a little bit here in the preview. So we'll read this flavor text for the Parasite Patrol. So it says, as the party enters the Vermilion Space system, read the following aloud. As the shifting silver of the Astral Sea peels away, your ship emerges on the shores of a twisting nebula that casts a deep red brilliance over your ship. Its oblong contours and vivid iris mirror the shape of an eye that is watching your approach. The cosmic crash of gas and dust beckons you forward, but another ship hovers in your path. Its long fins sway as it approaches, but its crew shows no signs of hostility. When it draws close enough, you see three crewmates standing at attention on the main deck. One shouts to you in common, "Turn back, this area is restricted." So you're getting, confronted here at the very beginning, and you're going to have to deal with some puppeteer parasites. So really cool. You get a flying fish spelljammer to deal with as well. So yeah, you can incorporate it through the Light of Xiryxis adventure, or if you're not running Light of Xiryxis, you can use this following hook here. It says, Almandar, the Rock of Brawl's most accomplished astronomer, hires the party to find the crew of a missing flying fish ship that was supposed to return from Vermilion space 3 days ago. The research mission was always going to be dangerous, but the data they were collecting would allow Almandar to create highly sought-after maps of the Vermilion Eye, a nebula that rumors suggest has the potential to fuel new kinds of spells. He offers the party a free star chart of their choosing in exchange for recovering any cartographic research on the ship, and a bonus for the safe return of the crew in that order. So you see, yeah, you can just run it as a separate Spelljammer adventure as well. So lots of value in this one. 2 different ways you can go at a minimum, and other options in here as well. So check it out. Mind Flayer over Matter in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Servants of Takhisis, a collection of draconic villains and artifacts for Dragonlance. So it's from Darren Kinney. It's $4.95 for 37 pages. It says the world of Dragonlance is filled with terrifying drakes that strike fear into the hearts of mortals. But who are these dragons, and what terrible power do they possess? Find out today with 10 brand new villains, each with a unique stat block, specialized lair, and terrifying domain for you to traverse before you can face them in battle. Will you face the ooze-fused 𝙬𝙤𝙀𝙀, the firstborn of Tar, and his horde of acidic allies? Can you traverse the wasteland of Grumling, the great devourer, and end his ceaseless hunger? Will you ally with Semprez, the dragon of wishes, and seek a boon for your battles? So you get 10 dragons and 13 artifact weapons that you can make from their corpses if you can become an expert dragon hunter. So fun stuff. You got 6 pages to look at out of the 37. So we got 𝙬𝙀 here, including 𝙬𝙀's domain and 𝙬𝙀's lair. So yeah, I mean, people hear Dragonlance, and even though Dragonlance is not only about dragons, it is in the name, right? The Dragonlance weapon, and then of course dragon itself. So there might be an expectation to see a dragon at some point in your Dragonlance campaign. So I think books like this that are going to give you some of those dragons are going to be helpful, so that you can meet that expectation if you want, right? So this one, 𝙬𝙀 is a CR 25 and has legendary actions, lair actions. So on, for the lair actions, we've got rapid production. 𝙬𝙀 creates 3 gray oozes, 2 gelatinous cubes, or 1 black pudding. Also thick slime. The ground inside the lair becomes difficult terrain. In addition, creatures with a strength score of 12 or less have their movement speed reduced to 0. So that's going to be a challenge for people in the lair. Ooze wall. 𝙬𝙀 creates a thick wall of ooze on a solid surface that can see within 120 feet of it. The wall can be up to 30 feet long, 30 feet high, or 5 foot thick. When the wall appears, each creature within its area is pushed 5 feet out of the wall space, appearing on whichever side of the wall they want. And then, there's AC and various other criteria for it. And then you got acidic pulse. All creatures standing on a solid surface suffer 20 acid damage. A prone creature takes 32 points of acid damage. So all kinds of oozy acid stuff going on in this dragon's lair. It is a gargantuan dragon that's chaotic evil, so it should be intimidating, right? And it, gives you some description of the lair, but it says, discarded into the swamp of oblivion for his deformity, 𝙬𝙀 thrived in the filth and became a horrific mutation of dragon and ooze. 𝙬𝙀 may appear to have wings, but in reality they are nothing more than poor imitations that lack the ability to grant him flight. When battle begins, the wings will transform into their true state, a mass of pseudopods that bludgeon 𝙬𝙀's foes to death. 𝙬𝙀 is able to create a near infinite amount of ooze and filth from its body. This ooze then produces creatures such as black puddings, gelatinous cubes, or other oozes to serve Flimex. So yeah, it's going to be a slimy experience, which is pretty cool. A nice little combo of oozes and dragons, and that's just one. You can also read about Friedland, the Fey Tyrant. So you're gonna have like a Fey dragon in here, CR25 as well. So yeah, these could be some big bosses. And we didn't see in the preview, but there's some images here of some of the artifacts that you get if you basically slay these dragons and make them from their corpses. So, I think this could be a lot of fun. Even outside of Dragonlance, you could use these dragons. So, lots of value here. Only $4.95. Give it a click. It's under Servants of Takhisis in the links below. Next, we got Stranger Dragons. 9 templates to mix up your dragons from ERF Jordan, $3.95 for 15 pages. This is dragons as presented in the Monster Manual and other source books are both varied and similar. As of this book's writing, more than a dozen different types of dragons exist, from the fearsome chromatic dragons to the noble metallic dragons to the mysterious gemstone dragons. Each has its own unique personality quirks, lair habits, treasure preferences, and more. And yet, in combat, they often play in very repetitive ways. Breath weapon, bite, claws, repeat. Boring, right? Over time, if you're doing it constantly, especially if you have a whole campaign of taking on dragons. So Stranger Dragons is a collection of templates that can be applied to the existing wealth of different dragon stat blocks. These templates make dragons even more varied and strange, from templates that mimic player classes to weird supernatural transformations akin to the Dracolich or the Shadow Dragon in the Monster Manual. The lore of these templates is written in the context of the Dragonlance setting, but the templates themselves can easily be used in any setting that features dragons. So you have the Bonded Dragon who fights alongside a Dragon Rider companion, the Dominion Dragon who has absorbed the power of a dragon orb and conquers the will of other dragons. And then quite a few others here. We're going to get into some of them when we look at the preview, but there's even a feral psychic projection of a dragon caught in a dragon sleep, spirit dragon, dragon priest. These are really fun. I love monster templates. I think they're a really good thing to have. You can't really go wrong with them because you can layer them onto creatures and really mix it up. You get these experienced players that are so used to how to fight a certain enemy, and they just kind of go into autopilot. And when you layer on templates, you're going to make them surprised. You're going to make them go, oh, this dragon truly is different than the past 10 that we took down, or that I took down on another table with another group, right? Because if you're using this book, you're trying to mix it up. So love that. Love templates always. So it's great to see ERF do that here. So you get some flavor stuff from Fizzman, and then you get the introduction. So you get the Bonded Dragon template and the Dominion Dragon template. So templates mean that you have the stat block already for whatever dragon you chose. So if I'm understanding this correctly, you can take any dragon that's published, Monster Manual or Fizzman's Treasury of Dragons, or even third-party dragons, and then layer on the template. So it basically gets it keeps its existing statistics, except for it gets some new stuff. So this is a Bonded Dragon is one half of a dragon riding pair, a dragon who has spent months or years training alongside a humanoid warrior to ride and fight together on the battlefield. Bonded dragons aren't mounts in the way war horses and wyverns might be. Most dragons are far too proud to submit to a humanoid in such a way. Bonded dragons only form a partnership of equals or one of the rider's subservience to the dragon, as is often the case among the Knights of Takhisis. And so with the template, the dragon is magically bonded to a humanoid riding partner that fights alongside. The two creatures can speak back and forth telepathically from up to 1 mile apart. The partner is immune to the dragon's frightening presence. Languages: the dragon knows one extra language, typically the one spoken by its partner. And then it has a new reaction, Punishing Strike. When a creature deals damage to the dragon's partner, the dragon can use this reaction to move up to half its speed and make one weapon attack against the attacker. And then you've got legendary action, Dashing Mount. The dragon moves up to its speed. If it comes within 5 feet of its partner during this movement, the partner can use this reaction to mount the dragon. So fits perfectly. All of these are tied into having a dragon rider. Then it just makes sense why these would be extra abilities applied to a bonded dragon. So you can take a red dragon, have it have a basically a bonded partner, and then give it all these abilities in addition to its existing stat block, and it makes perfect sense. Like, people would totally understand why these things are happening. So love it. And then Dominion Dragon, it says, long ago during the Age of Dreams, the mages of Krynn feared that Takhisis and her chromatic dragons would conquer the world and lay waste to it. To avert this terrible fate, they trapped the souls of 5 chromatic dragons and created the dragon orbs, artifacts that could compel dragons to answer their call. These artifacts gave the mages an edge in their battles. However, they were lost over the years, and now their whereabouts are long forgotten. A Dominion Dragon is a fearsome creature born when a dragon discovers a dragon orb and consumes it to absorb and amplify its powers. So again, you can see kind of the setup, and then it's got a new action where it can call dragons for 1 hour, where it can telepathically call to other draconic creatures within 40 miles. And then those dragons are compelled to approach through a direct route. So, but dragon deities like Takhisis are unaffected by such ability. So that's cool. See, so many fun things in here to really bring your Krynn experience to life, or apply these to other dragons, third party, other settings, wherever. So lots of usability here. I love it. Look for it in the links below under Stranger Dragons and give it a click. Next, we have Tasslehoff's Pouches of Everything revised from the Dragonlance Nexus team. So lots of material in this for your Dragonlance campaign. It's pretty cool. It's already a bestseller seller in its first week of release, which is a really good accomplishment. Authors Charles Martinell, Timothy Shiflett, Edward McKell, Trampus Whiteman, John Ryan, and of course the Dragonlance Nexus. My apologies if I mispronounce anybody's name. I'm known to do that. It's not you, it's me. $16.95 for 140 pages. So this is a massive Dragonlance volume, and it's got a lot of good stuff in it. And I just want to say, because people ask me, isn't this competition for your book Dragonlance Companion? And what I say to everybody who asks me that is, there is room for all of this. There's very little overlap between the two books. If I was running a Dragonlance campaign, I would want the Wizard's book, our book, and this one, because I feel like with those three, 99% of anything you could ever need for Dragonlance is going to be in your possession, because you just never know which way your players are going to go with stuff. And so having those resources on hand is going to be helpful. And like I said, there's very little overlap between the two books, and you can use things from this book in settings outside of Dragonlance as well. So it's all good to have, and I support them. I've interacted with some of the Dragonlance Nexus folks. They're very nice. They've been very supportive of our journey with our book, and we want to support them as well. And if you think about it, people that ask me this, every book on this show is competition, but I believe that we should lift all boats and support each other, because this is a tough business, and I really think these people that have put together this book have a passion for Dragonlance. They really love it. It's clear they've spent years developing their site and this book, and so I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to have this for whenever I get a chance to maybe DM Dragonlance one of these days. I'm too busy working, but I hope I get to one of these days. So I love it. Let's look inside. And I love the cover too. I mean, how fun is this? I mean, pickpocketing right there on the cover. Just so beautiful. And lots of good artwork in this one too. So they got 12 new subclasses, classic Dragonlance ancestries like Kinder, 𝙁𝙚, Quellenesti, Elf, Tinker Gnome, and stuff like that. Faction rules to play as a Knight of Solamnia, Knight of Takhisis, Steel Legionnaire, or Wizard of High Sorcery. You've got descriptions of Krynn's Pantheon, 5 backgrounds, 8 new feats, 12 magic items, and then geography of Ansalon, Krynn's history, and just a bunch more. And you can see it's nicely laid out, and there's even the beginnings of an adventure called Champions of Krynn. It says, evil never rests, and neither should the forces of good. It has been 1 year since the end of the War of the Lance, and while the forces of the Whitestone Council are still battling the remnants of the Dragon High Lord armies, a new force arises in the area around Throttle. Rumors spread of a forgotten book that can unlock a long-forgotten secret. With limited forces in the area, the Whitestone Council must look to others to help unlock the mystery and prevent an ancient legend from being unleashed on Krynn. So it's a 4-part adventure, and this is just part 1. They're going to release other books on, continuing the adventure. So hopefully we'll get to cover those as those come out as well. But this is like the first part of it that gets bundled with this supplement. And so it's a 4-part adventure that takes players through first level with up to 7 encounters. And then they've got some maps and stuff. And just, again, really great art. And the creators of the book, I mean, they consume everything Dragonlance. So, whether it's games, like video games or comics, I mean, they're all over it. So you're going to see some references in here to like so many things that you're familiar with. I mean, the video games, all of that. So I love it. So lots of different races. So you can have all these variations, like sub-races for dwarves that are connected to Krynn. You've got elves, half-elves, gnomes, humans, Tarmac, Kinder. It just goes on. There's so many. And then you've got classes, the subclasses, and they've got the Dark Knights, Knights of Solamnia, player options with the backgrounds, the feats, then all sorts of equipment and weapons, and then they get into the gods, of course, and then they've got the ambient magic of Krynn. They get into that, more magical weapon stuff, creatures. So whether you need stat blocks for Draconians or Dragon Spawn or Ogre Titans, they're in here. Spectral Minion, which is one of my favorites. I wanted to put that in our book, and we just didn't have the space. But I love Spectral Minions, so that's really cool to see here. The River of Time, so you're getting all this information on Krynn's history. I mean, a lot of it you may know, but how cool is it to have it all together right here at your fingertips, right? That's awesome. And then you got the geography, all these different locations. Wizard's book gives you some information on locations. Our book gives you some, but this goes through a lot of the places that you might visit. So again, combining some of these Dragonlance books together is really going to make a DM feel like they have all the resources that they need to really just go anywhere in Krynn, or even Krynn space if you're coming to it from Spelljammer, right? You need to have all those places that you can visit. So I love that there's a history there, and then they give you the background. Some of these creators have even worked on previous editions of Dungeons and Dragons for Dragonlance, so it's really cool. The different things you'll find inside and things to remember. And look at this fun artwork. I love this piece. Really cool. And then they get into some of the dwarves. So we'll look at one of the dwarves in detail here that we can see in the preview. So this is the dwarves of Ansalon are ancient and complicated, created by the magical gray gem. Dwarves nevertheless claim to be the chosen of the smith god Reorcs. From their humble beginnings on the shores of Calthax to the halls of Thorbidin, dwarves can be found throughout Ansalon. The various clans of the dwarves work together for their own survival, and one notable exception, the Dwarfgate Wars, which pitted the dwarves in Thorbidin against their own kin over the scarcity of food and supplies following the cataclysm. And so basically all dwarves have the same traits listed for dwarves on page 20 of the player's handbook, but dwarves on Ansalon have developed certain unique traits depending on the clan they belong to. So you have the Kalnar dwarves, and then you have the Hylar ones and the 𝙤𝙤𝙘 ones, all listed on this page, but there may be even more that we can't see here, but it's really cool. So you get your ability score increases, persuasive, you have proficiency in the persuasion skill, and then you get an extra language if you're a Kalnar dwarf. With Hylar, you get your ability score increase, you have proficiency with light and medium armor, and then you can speak, read, and write one additional language of your choice. And the 𝙤𝙤𝙘 ability score for strength is increased. It says savage attack. When you score a critical hit with a melee weapon attack, you can roll one of the weapon's damage dice one additional time and add it to the extra damage of the critical hit. You have dark vision out to a radius of 120 feet. While in sunlight, the 𝙤𝙤𝙘 has disadvantage on attack rolls as well as perception rolls that require sight. So yeah, they're all a little different, right? So you can get that feel. You can, I'm more of the 𝙤𝙤𝙘 clan, or I'm more of the Kalnar clan. Mixing it up, and there's people that only play dwarves, so having all these different little sub races is really cool to mix it up. But yeah, there's just a ton of stuff in here to really support your campaign. So I think it's just a really good addition to your library, especially if you're going to play Dragonlance. I mean, you might be playing Dragonlance for a year, right? So why not have things like this that fill the space. Maybe you need to quickly put together a one-shot or an encounter, or maybe your players went left when you thought they were going to go right, and now you got to come up with something. So books like this are going to help support you through that. So I encourage you to check it out. It's in the links below under Tasslehoff's Pouches of Everything Revised. Give it a click. Next, we've got Vega's Guide to the Multiverse and Marketing, or to multiverses and marketing, I should say, multiple multiverses. It says travel the stars and own astral wonders in the supplement, and it's from Bobby Montalongo, $2.50 for 25 pages. It says wherever you find yourself in this vast multiverse, you can always be sure that you will be able to find a phantom street. But what does one even look like beyond the scope of most curiosities? What other people populate these extra planar spaces? Vega's Guide to the Multiverse and Marketing sets out to give DMs and players an overview of these spaces while also giving you enough freedom to build off of, featuring 4 new races, 5 new backgrounds, 40 new items, NPCs, random encounter tables, and more. Vega and her new hires, Cataron and Juniper, take readers on a whirlwind tour of the vastness of the phantom streets and even into deeper wild space. Step into the cosmos curiosities once again and see what new cosmic wonders await you. So looking inside, you get the sort of the intro, and says character options. So you get, I guess this is one of the races. So you got the 𝙤𝙤 is one of the races, and then the 𝙤𝙘𝙬. Okay, cool. So we'll look at 𝙤𝙤. It says merchants from across the multiverse, the 𝙤𝙤 enjoy traveling in groups to sell wares they find in their travels through the stars. 𝙤𝙤 seems to prefer dealing in the shadows, even when everything they do is above board. That said, they can also be very boisterous and excitable, especially when shown a shiny new thing for their shops. The 𝙤𝙤 are likely the first thing a world encounters when they begin to venture into wild space, and these avian traders are more than willing to help people reach the stars for a price, of course. So your Fae, your medium or small, your walking speed is 30 feet. Dark vision, you have superior vision in the dark and dim conditions. You can see in dim light within 60 feet of you as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were dim light. Superior merging, once per short rest. As a bonus action, you can create a psionic link with a number of willing entities equal to your proficiency bonus. They must be within 30 feet of you when the merge is created, and must stay within 60 feet of you or the merge will end. This merge lasts 1 hour or until you are incapacitated or killed. To establish it, the merge link, one of the entities you are merging with must be a Fae or be able to change into a Fae during the process of the merging. When you reach 5th level, you no longer need one of the merging entities to be a Fae. You can use your beak as a natural weapon. You are proficient with your beak's unarmed strikes, which deal 1d6 plus your strength modifier, piercing damage on a hit. You know the Friends cantrip. When you reach 3rd level, you can cast the Detect Thoughts spell with this trait. When you reach 5th level, you can also cast the Gift of Gab spell with it. So yeah, fun stuff. You also get Belly Slide. You can use your reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus during your movement to slide in a straight line for an additional 15 feet. While sliding in this way, you cannot provoke opportunity attacks. So yeah, lots of fun stuff. It makes sense. This is kind of like a penguin character, right, that you would slide, be able to slide like that. And then you've got the 𝙤𝙬𝙬. They're a group of humanoids that merge human and squid features. So yeah, fun stuff in here. I think, seems like it fits probably best with Spelljammer, but I could see it in a lot of different settings. And if you want to combine it with another book, you can save some money because they've got a bundle down here as well. So when you click our link, be sure to consider the bundle and see if you also want to get the Cosmos Curiosities book as well from Bobby. So really fun stuff. Check it out. It's under Vega's Guide in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have War Take Up Arms by Emil Teilhard de Bormes. And it is a suggested price of $9.99 for 10 pages. And the focus of this is on mass combat. So this system is designed as a toolbox add-on for DMs to run war in 5th edition smoothly and not as a separate war game. The goal is to keep the focus on your player characters and the same flexibility in the rules that DMs are used to. That being said, it is still a tactical system that can be nail-biting and exciting to run and play. It is made for people with little to no experience at war games and more veteran war gamers alike. So yeah, Dragonlance There's going to be some wars, right? So you might use it for that. You could use it for a war in your homebrew setting, wherever you want to use it. But it's beautifully illustrated. I was looking through this earlier, and you get to see 5 of the 10 pages, so half the book, and you can see, I mean, these really nice line art pieces they've got showing you like the different miniatures that you would use. So it says to smoothly run an army, we divide it up into companies. 1 or more player characters or NPC captains can lead a company. A company is represented by miniatures. So it goes through the setup and the troop types. You know, you can have archers, foot soldiers, cavalry. And it talks about forming them, and then the armies, boons, and banes. Each of these bonuses can be things that are added or subtracted to the appropriate miniature to the company. So strong leadership, you get +1 money, or faction tensions, you lose 1 mini. Miniatures in a company have to be touching one another's bases. The miniatures have to fit in a box of 5 miniatures in a row and 4 miniatures in a column. And it shows you kind of how to map that out and how to make them. And then it goes into different siege versus normal damage. So it says 1 space of stonewall defense work can take 4 siege damage before it's destroyed. When it is destroyed, it doesn't provide its boons anymore, and any company can now move through the space without impediment. And it's got war machines, monsters, mounts. I mean, it's covering everything here. Solo monsters. So if you're willing to play with this and you know, bust out some miniatures, you can even use probably tokens. Yeah, experiment with it. I could see where you could really set up a war situation here, really have it acted out. And I like that the author is saying that the goal is to keep the focus on your player characters, because one of those minis would be your player character probably. So very cool. I'm excited to see this, especially at a suggested price, because then you can pay what you want to check it out and then come back and pay more once you've seen the value. So check it out. It's in the links below under War Take Up Arms. Give it a click. Well, that was our last new release for one of the sites. Before we move on to the second site, a few announcements for you. First of all, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave us a comment. All those things help us get the word out. More people find the videos and get to know about all these great releases if you can do that. And I'll respond to all comments personally. If you can click those links in the video description and support all these awesome creators that we featured this week, that really helps them. This business is tough, so you want to help encourage them to stay in it and creating these awesome titles for you to enjoy and bring to your table. And if you click any of those links and make a purchase, even if we didn't talk about it today, it's going to help support the channel through a small affiliate fee. So we really appreciate it when you do your shopping with us. That's awesome. And if you really want to take it to the next level to support us, you can purchase one of our books. You can go to splinterverse.com to read more about all of those, or click the links in the video description in the section we have on our books. And I'll just tell you about a few of them here now. So our latest one is the Dragonlance Companion. It's 180 pages for DMs and players to really get into Krynn. Everything from subclasses to races, including classic ones like Draconians and half-ogres and Thanoi, as well as 2 full-blown adventures, a tier 1 and a tier 2 that you can link together for a full campaign. We've got monsters, magic items, encounters, new types of items like legacy items, and even herald items that are connected to the gods, which we profile in massive detail so that you can use the piety system to really interact with the gods. So there's just so much to be found in there for Dragonlance and Krynn if you're into that, or if you want to take these things and put them in another setting, of course. And it's available in print as hardcover or digital, or you can get both for this combo price where there's no extra charge for the digital. So that's always very cool. Then we've also got Swarms of the Multiverse, which is over 180 pages dedicated to brand new monsters that have some sort of connection to swarms, whether it's they form swarms, they summon swarms, or they control swarms. Each of the 70 new monsters in this book have some sort of connection, and we give them lots of space in the book. Each monster gets a minimum of 2 pages, so you get lots of lore, you get tactics, you get a playlist of the moves that they would use on their stat block. So if you want to quickly run it without reading too much, you can just go through the playlist. We've also got associated things like magic items that are connected to some of the creatures, demiplanes, full demiplanes that you can explore with some of these creatures as well. Then we've got rules for you to create your own swarms that are balanced for 5th 5th edition, so that's really helpful. And then we have other types of swarms, like environmental swarms that don't even have hit points, but are more like hazards or puzzles that your party will have to pass through on their way to whatever the next adventure is. So tons and tons of stuff to really bring swarms to life and help you make a swarm out of any creature, whether it's third party or an official Wizards release. You'll be able to confidently make those swarms using those balanced rules. And again, it's print or digital. Then we've also got our platinum bestsellers here with the Feywild Companion, which is over 150 pages devoted to the Feywild, the plane where everything is Fey, and it's really a fun place to explore. It's a little bit different than the material plane, so you can have a really unique experience that kind of turns things on its head. And this fits well with Wild Beyond the Witchlight or any other Fey experience that you want to have. It's got player subclasses, one for each class that connects to the Fae. It's got magic items, races, lineages. It's even got trinkets, a new type of item called Flowers of the Feywild, which is a new consumable that helps you really feel like you've gone to a fantastical place. But these flowers can be used as a consumable item or like an environmental hazard, which is fun. We got a brand new Domain of Delight with a beautifully illustrated map in the same style as the one in Wild Beyond the Witchlight for Prismeer. We've got full adventures, encounters, monsters. I mean, it's just jam-packed. VTT tokens, all that stuff if you buy the digital, but it's also available in print as well. So you're going to want to check that out. Then there's also our other platinum bestseller, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets. It's devoted to dragons. It's meant to tie into Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, but it can be used on its own. So you've got dragon-themed subclasses, one for each class. You've got trinkets. You've got magic items, you've got horde magic items, draconic gifts. So those things that are in Fizban's, we're expanding and giving you more. So you have more draconic gifts and more horde magic items. You get a brand new familiar, adventure hooks to tie everything together from the DM point of view, so you can make those subclasses NPCs or whatever you want to do. So it's really, really good. It's going to be a hardcover soon. So by the time you watch this, it might already be a hardcover. So you can get the hardcover and or the digital as well. Then we've got our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages, which is devoted to the new concept of lineages that was introduced in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. And it's really fun. It makes your race basically something very personal to you, because lineages are something that is sort of thrust upon your character. It's not how you were born. It's an experience that you've gone through, and it's changed you. And so these are very conflict-driven lineages, suitable for any setting, not just Ravenloft. Got 4 of those in there, and then we've got optional rules on how to string those together, so you can go from one lineage to the next, or you can remove a lineage if there's some reason you want to go back to the original race, or just for story purposes you want to remove it. You have that option with this book. And then we've got Potions Unlocked, which is print or digital, and it's over 100 pages, and it's really devoted to taking potions, which are kind of a run-of-the-mill thing where you just say, oh, I'm going to take a healing potion, oh, I'm going to take a healing potion, and make them fun again. It's got optional rules for taste, smell, overdosing on these potions, how to craft the potions. Even with the 30 new potions in here with really cool artwork, we've gone and given you really in-depth origin stories for each of them, that you can have a vendor relate to the players, or you can turn it into an encounter if you want to have the players be responsible for the creation of some of these potions. We even have potion-themed locations, including a potion shop with 2 different stories and a whole set of maps, so you can go to each of the layers of the potion shop, different vendors that are profiled with full inventory lists, a school where you can learn to craft potions and experience various encounters and adventures. And then we've got magical plants and things that you can craft, harvest and craft your potions with. So tons and tons of stuff. The whole point of the Potions Unlocked, or any of the unlocked titles that we're going to do, is to really take something and take it to its limit, give you everything you could ever want, to be the authority on that topic almost, and just really deep dive. Our Swarms book is the same thing. It's anything you could ever want on Swarms. So if you're getting these books, we feel like you're going to have everything you could ever ask for that topic, and that's our goal for you, because we really want the money to go as far as it can, because we do try to keep our prices reasonable, and then by giving you everything we can, we're helping you have that for far into the future, you're going to have the ability to, have potions or swarms or whatever our topic is, come to your aid at your table. So we hope you'll support us and check out all these awesome titles. Feel free to ask questions in the comments or anywhere if you're interested and unsure. I'm always here to help you. But no matter what, I hope you're clicking links, supporting creators, whether it's us or the others out there, because this is an awesome industry. We're so proud to be part of the TTRPG space, and we appreciate you. So now let's move on to the other site and their new releases. First up, we have Bugbears Borderlands from 𝙤𝙘𝙘 Creations, and it's only $1 for the PDF, which is a crazy good price because it's 142 pages. Then you've got a softcover black and white book for $12.50, or you can get the combo for that same price, and it's already a best silver seller in its first week, so it's already sold over 100 copies, which is great. And this is an interesting book because it is, it says, what if there's a basic version of 5th edition? So their goal was to kind of make a different version of 5th edition that has the feel of basic from back in the day, 1st edition, that kind of stuff. So it says, well, there is an existing official basic version. It includes all of the rules, which are not very basic, and hardly any player character options. So Bugbears and Borderlands flips the script on that. The rules have been streamlined to the very basic core, while still offering a lot of character customization options for character generation, while also being very easy to learn and play. Hundreds of pages can be daunting for new or younger players. It's a reason why Multiverse BX back in the day brought in so many new gamers, because it was an easy read and easy to play. B&B, Bugbears and Borderlands, emulates this philosophy while being largely compatible with core 5th edition. So really cool. There's color versions as well that you can get through the publisher, but I just wanted to show you like how cool this is, and I love how it looks. It reminds me of some of those older editions, especially 2nd edition here, with the styles and colors chosen here. So let's look inside. You can see what it is, what it's about, all the different races available to you, which it's the typical races. Sometimes you see like these sort of OSR versions of Dungeons and Dragons, which go back to what was in basic. This is really trying to keep what 5th edition has, but just simplify some things, right? You've got your classes, your fighter, your expert, your wizard, your money and equipment, how to play, spell casting. I mean, all the rules have been revisited. Your bestiary is revisited, all that stuff here. So it talks about just even generally what is a role-playing game. But, I mean, you can't beat $1 to really get this and get into it and check it out and see what works for you. Maybe you use the whole system. Maybe you just pull out one of the simplified things, because maybe they've simplified something that was a problem at your table, right? And so you can then take that thing and replace the official Wizards version with whatever that is. Or, as I said, run the whole system. It's up to you. If you're a busy DM that has multiple tables running, maybe you run one or more tables with this and then carry on with 5th edition on other tables. I mean, the world is your oyster, basically, with things like this. So you can see different other races that are available, backgrounds, how to choose those. So it says, after you've selected your race, choose a background option. Backgrounds reflect how your character grew up before they took a life of adventuring. And so, if you're an arcane conduit, you choose a cantrip from the wizard's list, arcane resistance, advantage on saving throws versus magic items and spells. So you basically get a quick feature here that goes into your classes. So, I mean, you're seeing 49 of the 142 pages. So that's a really good sampling of what you can expect, from this book. I'm just going to do a quick scroll so you can see so many of the different pieces here. Even the spells down here, they got the Burning Hands and Aid. And see how simple it is? It only has a few little stats at the top for the spell. So some stuff, I guess, doesn't matter in this version. But again, that's the goal, is to make it easy to play, but keep that character customization stuff right at the forefront, which I love. So I think you should check it out. Look at how cool it looks printed as well in this picture. It is under Bugbears and Borderlands in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got the cute Creatures Compendium from Catalyst, and we've covered a few titles from Catalyst, and the art is always just top notch. I mean, look at this. These creatures are cute. They truly are living up to the promise of the title here, and it's a best silver seller as well. Well over 100 copies sold in its first week. It's $9.95 for the PDF, but you can go with the hardcover, softcover, varying prices, ranging from $13.95 all the way up to $30.95 depending on your choices, but you're getting, in some cases, both the digital and print for that. So very cool. 5th edition, and it says discover and befriend fantastic cute creatures. Fully illustrated, uniquely cute creatures and stat blocks ranging from CR0 all the way up to 30. That's cool. Likes, dislikes, and lore for each cute creature. Numerous options for familiars, Pact of the Chain familiars and steeds. Rules to tame, befriend, and even build some creatures. Adventure hooks. Lots of stuff, and you can see down here how beautiful the artwork is. I mean, Catalyst always has great, interesting, unique, one-of-a-kind artwork, and it's all right here. You can see how they've laid it out and really giving you that information. I mean, these are truly cute. I mean, this little 𝙁𝙗𝙀 here, I would love to see that in a campaign, or the deep otter. I mean, that's a fun little, with his little like a glowy thing on antenna on his head. So cute stuff. Let's look inside. So the Fungodillos here, you get to see 4 creatures. So there's the Fungodillo. You got the Moss Bears, Moss Bear Mama even. That's cute. And then the 𝙁𝙗𝙀 I talked about. So let's look at the 𝙁𝙗𝙀, because that one really caught my eye. So it says likes tree hollows, nuts, and hooting. That's cute. Dislikes nutcrackers, crows, flying into windows. That makes sense. I wouldn't like those if I was an 𝙁𝙗𝙀 either. Part owl, part acorn. 𝙁𝙗𝙀s are flying members of the flora fauna family, known for their mobility and toughness, but also their distinctive cuteness. 𝙁𝙗𝙀s grow on magical owl trees and look like mundane acorns to the untrained eye until they hatch. It's a perceptive, adorable, and tough nut to crack. Its cap allows it to shrug off a direct hit, which contributes to its already remarkable longevity. So it could be a familiar. They're eligible targets for the Awakened spell. That's helpful, so they're fleshing out some of the spells like Awakened here. It says optional rule Parliament of 𝙁𝙗𝙀s. 𝙁𝙗𝙀s may gather in swarms, so you can have a Parliament of 𝙁𝙗𝙀s. So that's really cool. It gives you the abilities here that you would add to get the swarm. Love swarms. We did a whole book on swarms, so awesome to see other people exploring swarms too. You got 𝙁𝙗𝙀, tiny plant, typically unaligned, and you got all your stats here. It's so cute, and because it is a CR0, yeah, it definitely can be at the DM's discretion a familiar. And it's got this little thing called Nutty Headbutt, where it does a melee weapon attack and deals 1 bludgeoning damage. That's cute. And then it's got Tough Nut, recharges after a short or long rest. If the 𝙁𝙗𝙀 takes 5 damage or less, that would reduce it to 0 hit points. It is reduced to 1 hit point instead. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, so it's cute. I mean, I'm just saying it naturally, and that's in the title, so it's living up to the name for sure. And I always enjoy Catalyst stuff. Very creative. Catalyst is very creative, and then on top of that, not only are they writing and illustrating, I mean, it's just the total package. So you got to check it out. It's under Cute Creatures Compendium in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Delver Magazine, issue number 6, resources for the random rolling referee for old school essentials. But as always with Delver, I always see stuff that can be used pretty much for any edition of the game, including other fantasy games. And it's 48 pages, $10 is the price. And it's a bi-monthly magazine, but they've got, in this case, better healing potions, the Griffin Claw auction house, a prop deed, a poisoner's journal. I mean, this is just like a grab bag of different things that you can use to spice up your campaign, and they're usually tables that you can roll on. So if we just rolled a 4 on everything here, better healing potion, it would be Tears of Guratin, and the ingredient would be 1 griffin feather, and it would be plus 1d8 HP for lawful, and it would take 1 month and be 25 gold, and it would give you the effect of 1d8 HP healed plus hardened skin of AC plus 2 for 8 hours. So yeah, that could work for 5th edition. So you can use this with OSR, old school essentials. I mean, anything. From the library, here's a whole list of books you could find: A Scepter's Travels, The Undead Shadows, Fortress of Time, and they even have authors, so you could use that with a lot of stuff. Griffin Claw auction house, and it gives you some lots that are being sold, and these are the bids you'd have to beat to get it, so it kind of gives you like a final bid if you want the player to win. I mean, just fun tables. I'm just a big fan of tables and rolling on them and making up tables and having a good old time with it. So I encourage you to check this out if you're like that, or you just want a grab bag of different tables to apply to your game. Check it out. It's under Delver Magazine 6 in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Drop-In Dungeons for 5th edition, which this particular title is just a bunch of 2nd level adventures, which is really cool. So maybe they'll do another one that'll be 3rd. I don't know. But it's already a best copper seller, selling over 50 copies in its first week. And so it's got 5 ready-made dungeon delves balanced for players of 2nd level. So really cool. It's got battle maps in here and hyperlinked and bookmarks and all that stuff. So I always like when it's organized so well. It really makes it easier to bounce around and find things as you're looking through. But you can see the beautiful layout. You've got the sort of creeping monster here, and this guy with swords and all sorts of stuff going on. So let's look inside and see what's up. So right in the beginning, there's synopses of all the adventures. So we'll just read one. There's Butcher's Block. It says, at its epicenter, a once humanoid hell priest known as a Carnifex engages in profane rituals, channeling the power of the complex's sacrifices to its bloodthirsty god. To reach the sacred chamber, the party will need to find a flensing blade, a ceremonial dagger that can cut the magical barrier which seals the room. A number of these daggers are scattered throughout the dungeon. So that's cool. But here's the first one, Asgard's Trial. It's give you the summary and all the different rooms and things you'll find along the way. And then it gets into Butcher's Block. And we were talking about that one already. And you can see there's a flensing blade in here, which is, it says you gain +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this dagger when you attack a flesh and blood creature that is not an undead or construct with this dagger. It ignores resistance and immunity to slashing damage. So that's cool. And there's other items like Eyes of the Blood Moon. And then, yeah, you can see you get to the abattoir and you have to deal with the gibbering mouther and a blood-soaked gelatinous cube. I mean, fun stuff. You can never have enough adventures, and having a whole book that's designed for starting with a certain level is just going to come in handy, because you're going to be like, oh, let's make a party of level 2 characters, and then you just pick one and you're off to the races. So very, very helpful to have a book like this on hand. I'm really liking all the artwork too. Looks good. So check it out. It's under Drop-In Dungeons in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Dungeon Vault Magazine 28 from Alvin Tower, $5.95 for 55 pages of dungeons for 5th edition. And yeah, this is I love this series because they have all these creators that work on it. In this case, David Hill, Jordan Blackman, and Joshua Lovett, and the typical Alvin Tower crew as well. And so you're getting 10 original adventures, and then you get printer-friendly versions, even ebook versions, as well as high-res and VTT style maps. And the maps alone always make it worth the price with Alvin Tower, because I mean, $5.95 to get at least 10 maps, I'm guessing, and to have adventures from levels 1 to 10. I mean, you never know. Somebody's not going to show up, or you all of a sudden get a group together and you need an adventure. This is a file that you can store even on your phone, right? So you can have this at hand, at the ready, when an adventure is going to break out and you need to jump in. So they've got so much in here. I mean, the Chapel of Lost Letters has a level 9 dungeon delve. They've got a level 12 in here, a level 8. I mean, it's a bunch. If you buy this series on the regular, you're going to have so many adventures for any level. And look at these gorgeous maps. I mean, even if you just pay $5.95 to get access to these high-res and VTT resolution maps, you're going to be golden. So yeah, I'm going to scroll through just quickly so you can see kind of overall what's going on, and get to see 25 pages, so pretty much almost half the book. Lots of stuff going on. So here's a stored memory table that's got some reusability. You got effigies. I mean, these maps are no joke. Look at that. That's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, there's this town map of Sorlang. I mean, and it's not just like you get just dungeon maps, even though it's a Dungeon Vault magazine. It's not just dungeons, it's towns, it's wilderness areas, it's all kinds of stuff. So I want to look at the Sphere of Echoes because I'm intrigued by that map or that table. So it says from the long forgotten past of the Age of Tyrants comes the artifact that scholars and researchers today call the Sphere of Echoes. Within this simple glass sphere, swirling gray clouds coalesce to reveal forgotten echoes of the past, as well as to hold the cherished memories of Lucas, the powerful archmage who created the arcane device. And so then you get this magic item in here, and it says you may peer into the sphere to see 2 minutes of your choosing from the past of your current location. The further back in time you look, the more distorted the image becomes. Recent events are clear, whereas those from the very distant past appear as moving blobs of color. So you have to do a wisdom save. On a fail, the loss of some of your memories is the cost of using the item. Each subsequent time you use the item on the same day increases the save DC by 5, but it resets to 10 at dawn, and it accumulates your failures over a lifetime. Memories lost to this item can only be recovered by greater restoration or wish spells. And so your first failure, you lose an hour from yesterday. Second failure, you use a day from last week. So this could be really fun to roleplay, like how you're losing your memories. And a sixth failure, you lose all your memories. But once per day, you may access the memories stored within it and roll a d20 and consult the table to see what the memories are. And so here's that stored memory table. So the first one is, a boy in noble clothes repeatedly fumbles his sword drills. His disappointed father reprimands him for his failure. So you can work with the DM to figure out like how detailed this is going to be, and have the player just really role play a lot of this. You can embellish some of these memories potentially. So yeah, I love this. There's always something fun and different in each of these. I mean, no two issues are alike, so I really think this is a series you'd want to invest in, especially at the price. Because, like I said, you can't get maps like this for $5.95 by themselves. So to get maps and adventures, it's a steal. It's under Dungeon Vault Magazine 28. Give it a click. Next we have Encounters Volume 7, Jungles of Jakatar from Dragon's Horn Studios. And what I love about Dragon's Horn stuff is you can see in the lower left corner here, 5th edition compatible and 3.5 edition. So you're always getting 2 editions to play with. $5.95 for this. Not sure how many pages, but it says it contains 10 carefully designed jungle-themed encounters with monster tactics, leads, hooks, and new monsters and items. Easy to use and drop into any adventure to fill up blanks on the map, make a long journey more interesting, or to kickstart another adventure. So, it looks like a spread of adventures from average party level of 1 all the way up to party level of 6. And you get 5 new maps with variants, 4 new monsters, and 3 new magic items. There's also a bundle available down here if you want to get the Foundry version for $9.95. So you can click our link and then click the encounters, and we'll still get our little affiliate fee. All right, so looking inside, you got the list of all the adventure encounters, and then you've got the appendices with different, broken out by 5th edition and 3.5. So really helpful to have both of those, and you can see how the DCs are mapped to the different editions here. So they've thought it all through, and you're getting double the value. So average party level of 4 for 5th edition, and then for 4th, every party level of 4 for both editions here, because EL represents 5th edition in this case, if I'm reading it correctly. And you got a puzzle that you have to solve, a treasure. Look at these little boxes here. But 5th edition here is in red, and so you get the Quaddle, uses the Quaddle stat block, and then scaling for higher levels. And then over here, 3.5, get all the details, right? So easy to spot where you're looking. So I guess I had it backwards. EL is for 3.5 because I think they're color coded to be blue, but it doesn't matter. They're both in here. You can find them. You can see how they're easily split out for the different creatures you're going to come across and deal with. And I love that so much. So let's read a little bit of one of the flavor text sections. So it says, a small waterfall flows onto and around a small stone shrine. Several stone heads are placed on both sides of the river. A bat hanging from the nose of one of the statues looks in your direction and says in a squeaky voice, "Oh, visitors, I see a treasure you want, then open the doors you must. It will be easy. So, little bat talking to you. That's fun. And you got a puzzle. It says to open some secret stone doors, the adventurers need to set the correct number of bars and stones in the correct fields. The bat gives the following hints. So you get some hints, and then they have to basically, you see this little bars and stones here. So fun. I love this. Love that they have multiple editions represented. So very cool. Check it out. It's under Encounters Volume 7, Jungles of Jakatar, in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Hellboy, the role-playing game core book from Nightfall Games, $24.99 for 246 pages. Bunch of authors involved, including Richard August, Alex Delaney, and more. Already got 4.5 stars with 23 ratings. That's a lot of ratings. Really cool. It says, get ready to become a member of the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense and begin investigating occult perils that threaten the world's very existence. Your team will explore gothic locations, hunt clues, discover artifacts, and face off against terrifying foes. So this is 5th edition Hellboy, which is really cool. I mean, Hellboy is a fun, comic book series. They've got a board game. There's movies. I mean, Hellboy is legit. I really enjoy Hellboy stuff, and it's awesome to see it coming to 5th edition here. And you can see there's just so much in here. You get joining, comprehensive origins and roles that allow you to create your own paranormal investigator, whether it's your origin, your roles, which would be like your classes, your customization, like your feats, equipment, and then you've got the rules, some of the rules changes, and then running the game. So like everything you need to get this going. And then there's other things like a field manual, which I think is more player facing, and then an adventure as well. So there's a whole bundle down here where you can get all of it for $40. And then of course you can get the other titles individually as well. So make sure you explore all of this after you click our link, and see which piece is going to work for you. But I'm just excited. They got the license to do the Hellboy and really bring it to 5th edition. So it's exciting because you can build upon your knowledge. If you have players that are hesitant to try a different game, but they play 5th edition with you, games like this are great because it's kind of like just a sidestep. It's 5th edition with a twist, right? And so it's much easier to get them engaged and get them to follow you into this new arena here. But yeah, I love the look of it. It resembles, sort of like a Hellboy comic book with artwork, and goes into Hellboy's background and magic and science. So we'll just read a little bit of the magic and science to give you the flavor. So it says, magic is a big part of Hellboy's world, and it seems to be definitely magical, which certainly makes sense in a world populated with demons, the Fae, ghosts, vampires, and Baba Yaga. It's not just misunderstood science. When Baba Yaga binds Koshel, the deathless soul, inside an egg, that's not a metaphor. The warrior's soul is in an egg, inside a rabbit, inside a duck, and so on. At the same time, when the insane Nazi scientist Hermann von Klimt builds a space capsule, he doesn't do it with a magic wand and a grimoire. Science and magic coexist in Hellboy. They interact and breed and become something weirder and stranger together than they would eventually. So yeah, Hellboy is unlike anything else. It's got a really pulpy feel to it with fun magic, comic book feelings, fantasy feelings, sci-fi feelings, horror feelings. I mean, it's just all blended together beautifully, and I think you're going to have just an epic time. I mean, the artwork, just the artwork alone, being able to flip through and see Hellboy depicted with 5th edition rules is just a dream come true. So you got to check it out. It's in the links below under Hellboy, the role-playing game. Give it a click. Next, we have Intoximancy with this really fun cover from Steve Conley and the Middle Age. It is a Boozy Wizard subclass for the 5th edition, and I just can't get over the cover. It's really fun. $5 for 32 pages. And so that's a lot of pages for a subclass. I'm excited to see what all is in here. But it says it's written and illustrated by Steve Conley and made possible by a successful Kickstarter campaign and Steve's Patreon supporters. So you can become a drunken master of the mystic arts. Plus you get new spells, items, and creatures. So that explains the page count. That's great. Rules for the Intoximancer Wizard subclass. It It's a fun, powerful, and playable subclass. Now, sometimes, with funny names like this, you think, oh, it's just a joke. It's not a joke. This is serious. You can play this, and I think it'll be really fun. I mean, we're in taverns all the time, right, with D&D, so why not have a wizard that focuses on intoxication? So you have variant rules for wizards who prefer pipeweed over ale, new spells and cantrips like Cheers and Blackout Drunk, new magic items like Beard of Holding and Crapulancer's Great Staff, new creatures like the 𝙤𝙬𝙬𝙬, the fire-breathing Great Red Flagon, and fun stuff. I mean, and the art continues. Look at how gorgeous this looks. I just can't say enough about it. I mean, the pink elephants, oh my gosh. Summoned by the pink pot of pink pachyderms, these celestial creatures randomly appear translucent and out of focus from time to time. Medium celestial, unaligned. These are cute. I love that. You can have so much fun with these. Drunken disorderlies. Who knew that wielding unlimited magical power while being blind drunk would have a downside? Here's a look at a few of the corrupted constructs, cadaverous curmudgeons you might face on the road to toxomantic glory. I mean, the art is just worth the price of admission here. I mean, $5. Steve Conley is such a talent. Let's check it out and really, give props for somebody doing so much work. I mean, this is someone who is doing the art and the writing, right? That takes a special talent. Not everybody can do that. I can do basic stick figures and write, but I can't do this level of art. So I'm always hats off to anybody who can do that. And so we get to read a little bit here on these screen cap of the pages here. So it says, functioning intoximancer, so second level feature. You suffer none of the negative effects or disadvantages of the intoxicated condition, and no amount of alcohol or other intoxicant can render you unconscious, so that's helpful. Gibberish. While intoxicated, you can speak gibberish. This dialect is spoken fluently by intoximancers and by anyone inebriated. Additionally, while intoxicated, whenever you make a charisma ability check when interacting with bartenders, servers, brewers, and the inebriated, you have advantage. So that's glorious, because that means you can play that you are speaking in gibberish, and if you have NPCs or other intoximancers in your party, there's an understanding there, and having to have that make sense, and the chuckles people are going to have, and the giggles you're going to hear from people just laughing at what is he doing, or what is she doing, or they doing, I didn't understand a word in that, or I heard fish in the middle. I don't know what else the person said, but I heard the word fish, so I just think that could be fun, and also the advantage on checks with the wait staff at these establishments. It makes sense, right? Here be flagons, another second level feature, a cornerstone feature for intoximancers. You enhance your favorite drinking vessel into a unique, powerful, and fancy magic flagon. So you got to go to page 6 and get that item, but that's cool. And then Cheers, you learn the Cheers cantrip. In addition to your other cantrips. And then at 6th level, your expert drinking skills enable you to consume a potion as a bonus action. And that's really helpful. It's always annoying to have to use your whole action to drink a potion. So bonus action drinking of that is good. And if you are focused on drinking things as an intoximancer, you should be able to do that. And then you have potion potables. If you use a full action to consume a potion, you can magically enhance its effect, causing the potion's duration to last twice as long. When you drink a healing potion in this fashion, you gain an additional number of hit points equal to your wizard level plus your intelligence. I want to use this with the potions we wrote about in our book, because it's great. This ability to double the duration. That's so cool. And you can have such an assortment of potions. Just like, this character has all sorts of stuff floating around them. So love it. Love it. Yeah, gotta check this out. Like I said, just even for the artwork. So $5 is a steal. Look for it in the links below under Intoximancy and give it a click. Next, we have Legendary Locations, Wagoner's Rest from Kabooter Games. It's on sale $1.95 for 6 pages, and it's really just a series. The series Legendary Locations is just about places that you can drop into any setting, with NPCs, story hooks, and other things that you need. So it says, along the ancient highway the locals call Passfern Street, a coaching inn, popular with merchants, caravans, and groups of pilgrims, the Wagoner's Rest is built on an old Imperial way station. A collection of tankards from many lands sits upon a shelf behind the bar. The drink flows freely. The food is magnificent and the company usually congenial. If the power-hungry chef can avoid overreaching his source's abilities. So we just talked about the Intoximancer subclass. They could easily be at home in Wagoner's Rest because it's a tavern, right? So let's look inside. You get the map with all the private rooms, the common room, pantry, stables. That's useful. I mean, you can never go wrong with a map of a tavern. You need those. It says, customs and activities. Leaning against the far wall is a mannequin dressed up to look like the stereotypical shady figure in a bar. So frequently featured in tales of taverns, the bartender has a running tally on a nearby chalkboard to record how many people are tricked by it on a daily basis. That's funny. There's a menu with all the prices, and then you get some people like the landlords. The rest is owned by two men, Ramal Poole and 𝙤𝙤𝙘𝙤𝙤. Poole, a happily married man, has no hidden secrets or unusual quirks. For decades, he worked as a lay brother in the brewhouse at a nearby monastery. He fell into an inheritance several years ago and decided to follow his dream to open his own roadhouse. An open and honest man, Poole is the face of the rest, dealing with customers and pouring pints. Tyjon, on the other hand, dabbles in dark magic. So, interesting pair that runs this place. There's some events, there's patrons. I mean, a rumor table. This is all you need to get a little tavern going. You're always going to need those. You're going to need tons of those. And if you don't want to just reuse the same tavern for every campaign. So check it out. It's under Legendary Locations Wagoner's Rest in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Life in Bizzle, Sails in Mud, a toolbox filled with encounters and other assets to bring your fantasy urban setting to life. So this is for 5th edition or any system. So you get 50 encounters, 6 NPCs, and a few other assets to run a high fantasy urban setting. And we've looked at other Bizzle titles before, and they give you a lot of detail. It's really sandbox. It lets you explore, and you can go where you want. I love seeing maps of like full urban areas and having everything like mapped out and detailed. In even though you may never get to it, I just find fun in creating things like that. So, love seeing other people do that, making it available. So here you can see like the different areas of Bizzle, and this book focuses on just a few of those. So we're going to see the Pudley district for one. So it says, Pudley's narrow, muddy streets bring odd smells, con artists, and hidden blades. Few decent establishments last here, while black markets, brothels, fight pits, and drug dens thrive by entertaining the wealthy and exploiting the weak. Most law-abiding citizens are ordinary fishermen that lead simple lives, surviving one day at a time. The chaos of the breach enabled Vincent Bard, a mystic crime lord, to unite the district's many gangs. However, not all members of Bard's union are happy with the current situation. So yeah, you got an interesting dynamic there. Gives you the theme: a struggling community works for a better tomorrow in Seagull Bay. And then you got the fish market, general store, like different locations there. And then how to role play the character, including personality traits, body traits, goals, all that stuff. And current affairs, like sheriff rounds. This veteran sheriff patrols the streets and meets every new face. He questions them about their business in the districts, assesses their character, and offers information regarding the district's neighborhoods and people. There's volleyball, fish market, demonic tentacles, Leviathan's Echor, Titan Sworn Docks. So really fun to see all the detail. Like I said, you can have a map this big, and a player will say, well, what happens in this box or that box or this box? And so having more information to just respond with is just great. They don't advise people to sit there and write out every detail of every building on a town map, because you need to be able to improvise, and also you can end up wasting your time because you may never visit that, right? But I find fun in just doing that, so I do it just for fun sometimes. But when there's books like this out there that kind of do that for you and give you so much detail in all the different neighborhoods and stuff, it gives you a really great starting point where if you want to flesh out a few buildings, you can, and then use the ones they've given you for the rest. So really cool. It's under Life in Bizzle, Sails in Mud, in the links below. Give it a click. Next, I want to talk about our discount for next week, because we've covered all our new releases. So next week, we're going to be bringing you an exclusive discount through @Splinterverse on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. 𝘽𝙤 Companion Complete Edition by Elaine 𝘽𝙤𝙧𝙀, and it's $14.95 normally, but we're going to bring it to you at a special price, and it's part of the Saurasian Vault, so it ties into the Scarred Lands setting, and this gives you 40 subclasses for that. It gives you information about the dead divinities of Gellspot and how to harness their power, 2 new races, and additional options for Hollow Legionnaires, 15 new feats, 30 new spells and rituals, 60 magic items, 40 new magic tattoos. I mean, this is packed with stuff, and I really am excited to bring it to you as a discount. So make sure you're following us at Splinterverse at all those locations, because at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on Monday you're going to get that discount. It's a great way to take a break at work and just see what the discount is and snatch it up, because these last only about a week before they're gone. So we want to make sure you take advantage of it while you can. Well, thanks so much for watching today. I really appreciate you supporting the channel. And I hope you check out our new book, Dragonlance Companion, in the links below. It's getting a lot of good feedback, and we're so excited. I mean, it was 6 months in the making, over, so many hours of 19 different creators and 25 different artists, and just so much went into it. So I hope you can check it out and enjoy it. And please subscribe to the channel. Like the video for the algorithm, leave us a comment. I'll respond to those personally. And if you can, share the video out there on your social media. That helps to get the word out on all these awesome creators. Click those links in the video description, support them, and any purchase after you click a link helps us too. Plus, we have all our books at splinterverse.com or listed below. I hope you support us. So thank you for watching. If you're a creator out there, every week showing all this is proof that you can do it, that people are doing it from all walks of life with day jobs and other obligations. Just because you have a lot going on in your life doesn't mean that you can't get to the finish line with a product. It's okay. Maybe you only get to work on it 2 hours a week, but eventually you'll be done. You'll get there. So don't be discouraged. There are people out there like myself that want to see it. So just keep on going. You've got this. And to all of you watching, we appreciate you. We support you. And until next time, happy adventuring.